Make your point on the News Hour. Join Arnab every night on the News Hour with your question. Ask your question and join the debate.
Thanks very much for staying with us. And before we delve into the blueprint debate of the evening, we have a very special guest joining us. The ace against all odds, Sania Mirza, is with us live. Sania, thanks as always for speaking to us. You know, world number one, Arjuna Awardee, Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, now author. Wow. How does it feel to don this new hat?
It does feel great, but I have to say that it feels better to finally say my side of the story. It's my story, and I'm so glad that I was able to narrate it and hopefully express it well enough for everyone to enjoy my journey, and and especially the people that have been a part of that journey, and also the people who haven't been part of the journey and have just seen it from the outside.
Yes, and there's so much interest in your life, as you know. You know, you've been under the media glare for like well over a decade now, perhaps more. What made you choose this title, Sania, Against All Odds? You are a path breaker, you are a trailblazer, but is there more to it? Do you feel that there's a lot of adversity that you had to counter before you made it to where you are?
I think that Ace Against Odds, which is the name of the book, it's the name of the book for many reasons, but one of the reasons is because we were literally stacked up against a billion odds to everything that I have been able to achieve in my career and hopefully will continue to achieve. And I think the story is not just about me as a person. It's not just about the things that I faced on the tennis court, but it's also a lot about what happened off the tennis court, the person that I am because of the things that happen on and off the court. And I've tried to narrate it and say it as is, as much as possible. And and I think that we've all had our own struggles and obstacles to get to where we are, and I just wanted to share mine because I felt like I owed it to myself and owed it to my family as well.
Yes, and you know, you have always been known to be somebody who's very outspoken. So even more interesting then to hear in detail your side of the story on many issues. For example, I believe in the book, your take on the fatwa controversy is quite interesting because you've spoken out about how it perhaps wasn't as big a deal as it was made out to be. Did the media glare that followed upset you really more than the cleric's statement itself?
Again, I think that it will probably be better if you do read the book, because if you do read the chapter, you will know that there was no so-called fatwa. But you know, and it says very clearly in the book. But
yes, that's what I mean, Sania. That's what I mean. You've talked about the fact that the incident was actually blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of things were, a lot of the times, but I've always said this, I've always had a love-hate relationship with the media in my 15, 16-year-long career, and we both can't live without each other. But, you know, there were, and I think there were certain instances such as that one where I needed to kind of set the record straight, which is why, you know, one of the reasons why I've written this book. And also it is to try and inspire kids. You know, there's many reasons for it, but yeah, I mean, I have spoken about things that I have not spoken about in the past. So I think that, you know, like I said, I've not had a major controversy in a long time, and it's been nice and quiet and peaceful, but then that's why maybe perhaps I got the time to write a book. But you know, I have tried to pour my heart out in the book as much as possible, and hopefully you guys will you know, appreciate and also, you know, smile about it.
I think everyone's really looking forward to reading this. But, you know, Sania, as you were talking, that you are a role model and there are questions that are asked of you. You're sometimes in the media glare even when you don't want to be. Like this one incident which you've talked about in the book, and you said it wasn't really a fatwa. It's not like someone was coming out to kill you. Nobody had you know, some sort of reward on your head. But I must ask you, as a modern Indian Muslim woman, you are a role model to people. And do you sometimes find it difficult to walk this tightrope between a sort of radical, orthodox religious sentiment and where you see yourself?
No, No, I think that I see myself as a Indian woman, who has a religion which is very personal to me, and I think that has nothing to do with the book right now, what you're talking about. But I think what was very difficult for me was to grow up in the limelight. I've been in the limelight since I was 15 years old. I've literally had to grow up in front of the whole world, made some mistakes. Sometimes things were blown out of proportion, sometimes not. But I've literally had to become a person and become who I am today in front of the world, which for me was the toughest part, and which I have tried to express, that how difficult it actually was to, be a 15, 16, 17-year-old and actually have to sit there and answer questions and be very confused and overwhelmed about the fact that why am I being asked these questions which I shouldn't or I don't know answers to. I'm just trying to play tennis. I'm trying to give a very summarized version of it, but like I said, there are many reasons why I've written this book, and obviously this is one of them as well.
Yeah, I have a really important question about your book, just getting to it in a second, but just taking off from what we were discussing right now. I know you're saying that it's nothing to do with the book, but I must ask you, as you see yourself today as a role model, what are your views on a radical preacher like Zakir Naik, for example?
I really don't think this is a platform to talk about that.
Okay, fair enough. Now, talking about your book, Sania, you said that you hope that this is going to inspire youngsters or be a roadmap for youngsters who want to take up tennis. Are there anecdotes that you shared which you feel are going to be delightful for someone who wants to see or wants to know what life on a pro circuit is like?
Yeah, there are many. Actually, it's a complete story of my life, which starts from when I was 4 years old, when I was in America and I didn't even play tennis, and how I actually got into play tennis, when I was 6 and when I came back to India from America, and how I basically destiny played its role at the time, and we kind of were almost going to be on a plane that crashed. I mean, there are many anecdotes, but there are some things where, like I said, to inspire young kids, the things that we had to do, the things that we faced, even the adversity or the obstacles that we faced them with a smile. And today, with those obstacles, we are where we are because it made us a lot stronger as a family and as an athlete, and mentally very strong. So there are many things, the hours of practice that went in, the hours of mental training that went in, the hours of the travel time that went in. I mean, I've been playing tennis since the age of 6, and I think the first tournament I ever played was when I was 7 or 8 years old. So I've been playing basically all my life, and hopefully it will inspire a few more kids to pick up some tennis rackets, and we'll have a few more people playing at this level.
Yeah, and Sania, what's interesting is I know a lot of tennis parents who are absolutely dying to read your book, because we all know that there's been a very strong contribution of your parents in your life, in your career. I remember, your mom always being there at DLTA when you were playing, when you were 11 and 12 years old. So have you written about the contribution or the role that a parent plays in the making of a champion?
Yeah, most definitely. I think that I've spoken about it many number of times, not just in the book, but all throughout my career and throughout my life, that I couldn't be here without my parents. I wouldn't be here. And, as much as an individual sport tennis is, that it is called, it's actually more of a team sport than any other sport in the world, because, you need your parents, you need your family, you need your sister, brother, whoever, your cousins, your friends, because no amount of support is enough support, and whether it's mental, emotional or physical. And I've been lucky enough to receive that, and I've tried to share it as much as possible. And I owe everything to my parents.
Yeah, and Sania, you talk of tennis being more of a team sport. Really, in that sense, you have to have this team around you. But quite literally, just over a couple of weeks, it is going to be a team sport for you. Rio was part of this larger roadmap when we spoke this time post Wimbledon last year. Now it's right upon us. Has there been enough time to prepare with Pratna? Will there be?
I think that as tennis players, I say this time and again, as for us, Olympics is very important, and we are obviously going to do whatever we can to try and get that medal. I leave for Canada. As tennis players, we don't really have that luxury of, preparing 3 months, 4 months, 1 year in advance, like a lot of other sports. As competitive as tennis is, we just don't have that luxury. We prepare for Olympics just the way we prepare for Wimbledon or US Open or any other tournaments, the week before or 10 days before or something. So I'm actually leaving for Canada in about 10 days. I play a tournament there, and then I leave about 8 days in advance for the Olympics, which is going to be our preparation together. I mean, obviously we've been preparing separately, physically and all those other things, but together with Pratna and with Rohan, it's going to happen, you know, when I get there on the, I think I'm scheduled to get there on the 1st.
Okay, and so confident of your pairing with Rohan, because last time round, of course, there was some bad blood, there was some controversy going into London 2012. You know, you had stated that you felt that sometimes you were being used as bait. No such thing this time round, like you yourself said, it's been quiet on the controversy front.
Yeah, it's been quiet, and but I think that the only thing that we can control as athletes is going and giving our best, which we will do, and we assure you that we're going to do that, give our 100% and try and win that medal. If we don't, that's unfortunate, and you know, we're going to try again. But at this point, you know, all I can tell you is that we're all ready to go. We're looking forward to Rio, and we're all going to try and go and win that medal.
Well, we certainly hope so, and you know, we're expecting the best from all of you. But do you feel that this is important, though, because it was an issue last time round? Again, Rohan has of course said he respects Leander, but he's given his reasons as to why he would have preferred to play with Sakit. Does it make a difference? Does wanting to play together, you know, affect how a doubles team can play together?
I think that question only Rohan can answer, to be very honest with you, because I'm not in that position today where I have to play with someone that I don't want to, or I don't think I make the best team with. But I can speak for myself, and I can only tell you that for me it is very important, you know, to get along with the person that I play with on and off the court. We don't need to be best friends, but surely we need to be able to stand each other over dinner. And you know, I think that you know, that's just who I am. But it's not, probably not ideal. There's lots of people, you know, every person has a different take on it. So, but for me, yeah, I think it's important, because I think it's those moments of trust and friendship that you have that take you through a lot of tough moments on the court.
Yeah, we certainly hope it all comes together. Now, you know, just before I let you go, it's interesting who you could come up against, because Roger Federer and Martina Hingis, two of the most decorated players in the history of tennis, will be pairing up to represent Switzerland at Rio. Do you hope to run into that pair at some stage, or would you rather avoid them?
I think that's just one pair that you know of. I mean, there's 14 other pairs besides us and them that are as tough to beat. So the fact of the matter is that every team is going to be as tough as the other. You know, it would be a little odd. It always is to play against Martina. I've always said that, because we are obviously, you know, really great friends, but also on the court we play together all the time. So to compete against each other is the toughest for both of us. But if it does have to happen, hopefully it'll happen in the final.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. We certainly hope so too. Thanks very much as always, Sania, for joining us, and all the very best for Rio.